been a very strange presidential election campaign in the United States. No one predicted the phenomena of Donald Trump, who is the front runner of the Republican Party. No one expected the very offensive rhetoric that has been heard in this campaign. And this is very, very troubling, and of course has implications for U.S. relations with the world and Latin America. Secretary of State says that this has been an embarrassment for the United States, and I think that's right. So whoever wins in November, the United States will have a lot of work to do to try to repair some of the feelings that I think have been hurt by the very offensive rhetoric, especially by Donald Trump, by other candidates as well, especially in the Republican Party. My sense, however, is that although one shouldn't predict in this campaign, it looks likely that Hillary Clinton will be the next president of the United States. It's not, wouldn't rule out Donald Trump or somebody else from the Republicans winning, but it looks like she's in the strongest position today, which of course would mean more continuity with U.S. policy towards Latin America. Barack Obama had a pretty slow start in his relations with Latin America. I think has ended his administration, his presidency, quite well, especially with a very dramatic policy breakthrough towards Cuba, which has been a main irritant and obstacle in U.S.-Latin American relations for decades. That really, his visit there in March was historic, and I think helped cement the relationship and the process towards normalization, which I think is irreversible. Today, what will happen in Cuba is a different question. I think the changes will be slow, but I think certainly the U.S.-Cuban relationship will move forward. My sense is that in the next administration, whether it's Republican or Democrat, the embargo will probably be lifted. I think that there's broad support and broad consensus for this direction that President Obama is moving in. Probably the issue of greatest concern for the next president, the next administration, is the situation in Venezuela, which is in a profound economic and political crisis, I think without precedent, and also a real potential for humanitarian disaster. The figures are really striking and alarming, and this is a situation that affects all countries in the hemisphere, and I think there's a lot of talk and a lot of thinking about what contingency plans might be in place depending on different scenarios that happen in Venezuela, but certainly that's the country that's in the deepest crisis. The other issue on the agenda will be trade and the Trans-Pacific Partnership. One of the things we've learned in this campaign, this very strange campaign, is that there's a lot of opposition to trade in the United States. I think not only on the Republican side, but the phenomena of Bernie Sanders, who has posed a real challenge to Hillary Clinton. Nobody expected that, and the issue that I think has really driven his campaign has been opposition to trade agreements. I don't think these are going to be undone, NAFTA and other trade agreements, but clearly Hillary Clinton has now, in the campaign, has moved to a position of much more opposition to TPP because being pro-free trade in this campaign, in this political climate, is very, very difficult. One of the grounds for optimism for the next administration, despite the very difficult economic outlook in much of Latin America and the Caribbean, is the fact that the politics seem to be changing. The landscape is not so much anti-United States and certainly not anti-Obama. Some of the governments that have been very critical of the United States and have used very harsh rhetoric criticizing the U.S. role in Latin America have lost a lot of their force, a lot of their weight, most dramatically in Argentina, but also other countries as well. So that opens up possibilities for the United States to be more engaged in a more constructive way. Things are changing and evolving, and I think getting the Cuba issue out of the way, even though the embargo still exists, really opens up a lot of opportunities. And I think that's what the next administration will inherit from President Obama, and really is, I think there's a chance to make some significant progress. Whether the will be there and the resources is a separate question, and we'll have to see. We can only hope that that will happen.